It's taken me so long in the past to get better at character design, and I finally found a way to easily make unique looking fantasy characters with loads of diversity. Before, all my characters felt cliche. Edgy rogues, long-robed, big-hatted wizards, tough masked barbarians, or just wearing your typical boring adventuring gear. I used to scour Pinterest endlessly looking for inspiration just to end up with some stereotypical fantasy adventure number 11. But there's a problem with using Pinterest without something in mind before you look. The algorithm. Now, don't get me wrong, the algorithms are made to help people find content that fits their interest. But that's the problem. Pinterest isn't going to show you something out of what you normally do or look at, resulting in a bunch of very samey characters, which there's nothing wrong with if you enjoy playing the same character over and over and over again. But if you want something out of what you normally do, this might help push you into new territory. So, how do we break that comfort zone? How do I even think of something new and exciting? And the answer is simple. Dice. We love them, we collect them, we cherish them, we play with them, we roll stats with them, but for some reason we don't design with them? Personally, I think that dice and the art of randomness can just be such an easy way to throw away cliches and push yourself into trying something new. First, let's start by randomizing fashion, as it can tell so much about the personality and what the character's like. If you don't want to think of your own list, I have my fashion list available on my Patreon for free, link in description. Make yourself a board of 20 different fashion styles. Yes, 20. 20 is enough that it'll push you to really think about different options and search for things that you normally wouldn't even think are possibilities. Some ones that took me longer to think of were boho, drapery-inspired, streetwear, and business. And they don't have to be official fashion styles. Things like shy give you a good idea of what someone might wear too, and are perfectly fine for the list. Or different cultures. Maybe you want to include historic Malaysian fashion, for example. The choices are all yours. Okay, so we have some fashion inspiration, and we can probably deduce a little about their personality based on their fashion. But we can push this even farther on what story elements are in our design by using our stats. Do they have a high charisma stat? If so, is it based on looks or personality? If it's personality, what type of personality that has such a strong presence? Maybe they have a low strength, so we can make the character look a little on the less muscly side. Maybe with a high constitution, we can make them look like they can take a punch, or we show the scars that they have come back from before in life. Here's some examples based on high or low stats, though keep in mind these aren't rules and shouldn't always be followed. High strength. Buff, could be sturdier looking. Low strength. Low muscle mass. High dexterity. Nimble and strong, like a dancer. Low dexterity, clumsy and off-balance pose. High constitution, sturdy and hard to push over, possibly like a football player. Low constitution, weak-looking, possibly sickly or frail. High charisma, confident or beautiful. Low charisma, not your typical beauty standards, or lacking confidence. Just taking a little extra time to think about how your stats affect your character will help push the narrative and the expectations of the rest of the party when they meet your character of who your character is and what they're good at. So, what am I drawing today in the background? I'm glad you asked. Chandler Golden Whisper is a rich businesswoman with deep connections. Her tokens, stat sheet, and art can be found on my Patreon. Have a smiley day. Another option I like to add is a trinket or fact from their past. It could be as simple or as complex as you make it. A small toy they keep as a trinket from their deceased sibling. A favorite flower of their mother's. A jacket of someone they once knew. A dried leaf or vial of water from their home to remind a nature lover of where they came from. When thinking of a trinket, make sure it's of some importance for some reason. This importance can be a huge moment, but also doesn't need to be. A person isn't likely to carry around a blade of grass their whole life for no reason. But they might carry around a 4-leaf clover they believe makes them lucky their whole life without a huge backstory reason behind it. If your trinket is a big deal in their backstory, think about if your character is willing to talk about that moment. Maybe they want to show it to the entire world, or maybe they're secretive about it. Maybe it's something they feel sad about and keep hidden and tucked away, barely showing, like a necklace that they pull out when they think of the moment. Or maybe it's something they're super proud of and wear out in the open, like their first loot they ever got as an adventure, turned into something that they can proudly wear on their coat. We have a past now, but what about a present and future? Creating a character's visuals does not stop at the start of the campaign, it continues throughout. Always be on the lookout for opportunities to include things you get for leveling up as an addition in your gear. Technically, your new powers on level up have nothing to do with what you wear from a rules standpoint. But it can be really fun extra bit of flavor. Maybe you learn Fireball, but while practicing it, you singe some of your clothes. Maybe your bard wrote some new songs and keeps them in a book. Maybe your druid's nature ward ability is coming from a bauble they made. Maybe you get a gold inlaid on your sword's handle, and that's what inspires you to learn disarming attack. Or you've added a sight to your bow. Adding that story into the visuals of your character is going to make them so much more special. And keep a lookout for loot that isn't just a cash bag. My morbid bard has outfits we've pillaged from skeletons that held no value except the value of our memories of the party arguing over if it's okay to wear a dead guy's clothes. I have a closet full of strange items I've collected most people would have left behind, including a petrified goose. We've had hides of monsters turned into items or embellished items, feathers from a cockatrice attached into our outfits. From an outsider's standpoint, these trinkets might not look like much, but to you and your party, it's a way to remember the times you shared. If you enjoyed this video, maybe check out this video about what stats mean in simple terms. They can really help you design and roleplay characters you make.